Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Are you a brewhead? I'm a brewhead. Y'all are brewheads? Yeah, we brewheads. So pour a glass of craft beer, we can do this. Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is Cee, Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 90 of Beer Not Just a Podcast Adjunct series. We are back. 90 episodes of this alone is pretty fucking crazy to me, to be honest. This was just something we decided to move into when everything shut down, and here we are 90 episodes later. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special one. We have not had this gentleman on for about 4 years. I consider this young man one of my good friends. I love this dude to death. I have him on my chest, which is the only place I want him. Please welcome the GOAT, Simon from L'Espace Public, in the building. I brought the audience for you, homie.
Look, Craig, I'm about ready to get this started.
Luke, mate. All right,
mate.
Luke. Ah, fucking.
I'm not here to fuck with spiders, mate. I'm ready to roll.
All right, Phil, this is going to be a problematic podcast. I can't wait. I'm here for it. In the best possible way.
Hey, man. Hey, what's up?
It's so good to see you, bro. You're looking phenomenal. I need to compliment the drip. The drip is A1. The hair, phenomenal. The chain, the mesh, the Adidas. Oof. Bro. Drip gods.
Bro, mesh bros.
I know. Simo and I have twinsies mesh tank tops fresh from Savannah Lamar in Jamaica. That was good. I had to get my friend's wife to negotiate with him and shit. I didn't know how it all worked. It was fun finding him because I wanted that shit bad. I wanted to get us the ones with the straps, with like the green, yellow, and red straps and shit. But they didn't. I think they didn't have them.
Is that the one you got?
No, I got the same as you.
Oh.
I got me and you the exact same thing. I think I bought Jonathan got one, my friend. I got one and you got one. And they didn't. I think they didn't have it in our size, or Tiff wouldn't let me. Like she wouldn't even let me get that one. She was like trying to struggle at first, but talked her into it. You know, keeping it slick, mate. You know the vibes.
Yeah. Oh, it looks great. The black is great.
It's beautiful. I'm happy we got the black.
You know, I have an assortment, and I wore this one tonight for you.
And I appreciate it because you know the vibes.
Gift from you.
You know how it gets down. I should have worn mine. I realized when I noticed. I didn't notice it immediately because you need to wear them with a. Obviously, I'm wearing a t-shirt with Simo's face on it. Obviously, go get that from L'Espace. It
looks great. You look amazing. Look good.
You can't not look amazing with that beautiful face, adorning
you see?
the space between my nipples. Luke, mate. Luke and Simo. All right, I can tell we're going to get wild. So, Simo, we're going to start off. This is a great one. We're celebrating 10 years of L'Espace, which is honestly a huge achievement. There's not many breweries who make it that far. Well, it's such a young industry, and there's the OGs, but you guys are part of the new era of breweries, and it's not super common. So I'm super happy for you. And you've done something really cool.
Thanks, buddy.
With your anniversary beers, and you've brought back a bunch of recipes from back in the day, and I haven't had any of these ones, so I'm genuinely fascinated. And we are starting big. We're not soft over here. We're starting with this bad boy. This is a double Belge. I guess it's just a Belgian Dubbel, if you want to translate that shit. Is that correct?
That's right.
And it's 8% because Simo's like, fuck that, we're starting big, mate, And is this the same can art, or is this new?
No. This is all new. This is all like branded for the 10th anniversary.
Sick. I love it. I was gonna say because it looks like your new branding with the pigeon with the what's he got on his head in this? He's got like a fucking, or is that like a pilot's outfit?
That's right.
So gangster. Babe, do you mind taking a flick? So tell us about this particular beer. When you did it, what was the vibe? Like, what's I guess 10 years ago, Belgian doubles were what all the kids were drinking. I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, there's going to be a theme throughout the beers we're going to drink that are like throwbacks to 10 years ago, and these styles like didn't go away. People are still making them, but it's definitely not like a hot new style. You know what I mean? A hot new thing.
No.
So the story behind this beer is twofold. The name is one story, and the beer is another. So the name is like I'm there at the bar, L'Espace Public, with my then girlfriend or wife or whatever, and like some of her homies. She's a lawyer, and so we're hanging out with these like lawyer crew in Hochelaga at the bar. And then like everybody gets drunk, and then I remember the homegirl's like, "Oh, I just love beer. Like I'm always going to Europe, like drinking all kinds of different beer. Like Belgian beer is amazing. I know this beer. It's called like La Dorval, and it's so good." And I was like, "That's really funny because Dorval kind of sucks in Montreal and has the airport, you know." And then I think of airport and like, you know, crappy limousine service ads, hence the airport theme on the can, the air theme, airplane theme.
I love it.
Because Dorval is not a beer. She was either thinking of Duvel or Orval or I don't know what, you know. So I was like, that's fucking jokes. Next time we make like a Belgian beer, that's what I'm gonna call it. And like I wasn't big on making Belgian beers except for like saisons, you know.
And then
because
yeah, I guess that was kind of
wasn't stoked on it.
No, and I guess that's a Quebec thing. Like the saisons were like was popping out here. I mean, even now, I guess, right? So back then, and
yeah,
that's what it's known for. Okay.
Well, and you know me too. I like crushable beers, so like I'm not gonna get into these sweet or you know hot, yeah, mostly sweeter. I guess I'm talking about or thin or candy thin. Like triples and doubles are not my thing.
Right.
So that's the name. I had the name, and then my then brewer, one of the brewers at that time, Patrick Sylvestre, who now brews Tamarack with JP out of Silo.
Oh, yes.
He was brewing at the bar, and he wanted to make a double. And so I was like, bing, bang, boom.
Oh, it's a
call
collab.
it the Dorval.
Oh, this was back then. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. And that's like basically how it started because you already had the joke name. He wanted to do it. You're like, all right, fuck it. First things first. Fucking get in you.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers, man. Great to see you.
Put it in you. Great to be seen.
Put it in you. Nice.
Put it.
Fun fact on this one, because we never talked about it on the pod, because you and me, I feel like I've seen you 8 million times, but you haven't been on for so long, and we have so many in-jokes now. Val, the marketing, she's like the head of marketing and stuff at L'Espace. Is that what her job is now?
Yeah, I don't know. I think she says like customer experience and brand experience, something like that, right?
Whatever. She does everything. So Val thought
she does everything.
You. She's the best. And she thought that get it in you was put it in you. And to like, she's obviously a francophone, so that shit is fucking hilarious. And whilst it's not,
she's francophone, but like you can't tell, you know, like her first language is French, but she speaks English mint, except for sometimes, you know, as you do in like a language that's not your first language,
of course,
you miss some shit up.
And it makes it funnier, and it's like it's super cute. So put it in you is so funny because I guess it's the same thing, but it doesn't make as much sense as it could mean something else, I guess, in English. So it's just so fucking funny. So put it in you is
it's way more aggressive, right? Get it in you, like whatever.
Like,
put it in you. Oh, boy.
It could be easily misinterpreted, Simo.
Let's say, shall we say?
Yes. So look, talk about the double though. This is solid, man. Like it's like I haven't had a double in a minute, to be honest. It's nice and bitter. I don't remember them being bitter. I guess is that like your take on the style, or is that just how they are?
For sure. So another thing about every beer we're gonna drink tonight is like those recipes from 10 years ago were like still on this tip of like IBUs, and counting IBUs are important. And like if you just put a bit more hops on it, it's gonna be better, you know?
That's how it goes.
So in the recipe, there's definitely some New World hops like Centennial. The beer used to be made with Warrior Columbus. But there's no more Columbus. I don't remember what I put in instead. Some dank shit here. Maybe El Dorado. I don't know.
Dank shit. I'll say some dank shit. I'm gonna write that in there.
So like replace that dank thing that was going on before. So yeah, definitely a bit, more bitter than it would ever be in Belgium. We ain't in Belgium.
No, we in.
It does say Belgium on the can though, doesn't it?
It says, I mean, like in French. So to me, it's a Montreal beer. You know what I'm saying? It's an Hochelaga beer.
Yeah.
It's really good, man.
Maybe-
Like it's fucking like totally completely different to like, you know, obviously that bitterness, that hoppy bitterness. It's like a really fun twist on a style that, you know, if you're not into that type of shit, you know, like singles, triples, doubles, quads, whatever, it's like it's a little that sweetness and that real overly cloyy vibes to them are a little difficult to kind of like drink a whole thing. But like this is the beautiful short cans that I love from you guys, and you've got this nice little hoppy, the bitter twist. It's like this is fantastic. Seriously, it doesn't taste 8% either.
Well, I mean, you know, like my whole thing about making beers, you know me, is drinkability. Make the beer
Yes.
just crushable as you can, for better or for worse, you know. And in this case, I don't know, it worked. I don't, yeah. So we're in like the classic. You can taste like malt sugars, you know,
Yes.
all the Belgian esters of banana and
Yes, this is like
cherry and like prunes and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But there is a nice bitterness to balance it out and hold it up. It's likely
Cherries-
also not that dry or not that sweet. It's probably medium bodied instead of like full bodied, you know?
I agree.
I don't remember the exact final gravity, but it was not that high.
No, it's definitely got that. It's like a more balanced or more what's the word? Restrained version of what maybe people are typically used to drinking in this style. So, man, this really works, and I feel like even the you know, like the people who are more used to the more trendier, less bitter stuff these days. Now the West Coast IPAs are really coming back, and people are loving those. I think that this could appeal to people who might otherwise not really be into it because it's so much. It's so
Well,
much easier to drink.
every single beer like we're gonna taste is kind of a nod to that, like to 10 years ago,
Mm.
when that was what beer was around, you know, was
Yeah.
hop bitterness. But you're right, the hop character in this is cool. There's like some like fresh cut grass and like the Centennial pineapple thing a bit, or a Centennial lime thing a bit at the top. It's dope. Right
Yeah,
on.
man. I'm super stoked. I knew it'd be fire because it's fucking Simo. You know the vibes. But this is sick, man. Like, first thing first, like, we're about to, for people who don't know the L'Espace history, we are going to get into some of it here. But we did episode 72 with yourself and Frank in, it was February 2018. So it was actually 4 years ago. It was right before I went to Australia, I remember specifically. And that shit was wild. Whenever we hang out, it gets fucking wild. Frank was getting the empties, chugging, and just like throwing the cans. It was just such a good time. And I had my friend Richard with me who was helping me film and stuff. It was just, we talk about that night often because it was just so fucking good.
It was a great night.
It was, man. It always is. How does it feel now, though, 10 years in a brewery, owning a brewery, and not just getting by. You've been through a pandemic, but you're thriving. You've got this second location, which we're going to talk about. Like, how does it feel, man? Like a decade in this shit. It's amazing.
Living the dream, B. Totally living the dream. Doing the thing, you know? This is it. You know, if you asked me 10 years, well, if you asked me 10 years ago if I thought I would be where I am today, no. Because, like, we were vehemently against having a brewery when we started L'Espace Public. Like, having a brick and mortar, like a industrial brewery in Quebec, they say, but making beer for the grocery store shelves. We're, like, not into it at all when we started, you know?
Right.
But at the same time, me having started in a larger industrial setting in my career, and a lot of my contemporaries too, it feels natural and it feels great, and it feels like, the natural order of things,
Coming back home. You're
Great.
familiar with it,
Yeah.
and now
Feels great.
you've built up the brand for long enough, and you're able to sustain that and grow from there. So it's pretty cool, man. It's really, really cool. So
It's good. It's good. It's dope. It's great. My life is dope, man. I do dope shit.
you do dope shit, damn right. You always have that vibe
Yeah.
about you, and I always appreciate that. You're always like unflappable, and just like, yeah, man, let's go, whatever. It's all good. It's always like a good vibe. I'm never sorry, the TV got knocked on. I never it's just always a good time. Like L'Espace, and I was telling you just off camera, whenever people come from out of town, and they always hit me up for it hasn't happened as much lately, obviously, because of the last 2 years, but I have my list saved in my notes in my phone, and you guys are at the top of that list because I'm like, if you want to have fun and you want to try all sorts of shit, go to this bus. It's always a good time. I always come back. Jesus, like every time I go down, I'm trashed every time. It's a beautiful thing.
You hit the key word in our code or our raison d'être, or what do they call that?
Like the
whatever.
Mission, like a mission.
Our mission statement. Yeah. Fun. We're there for fun, man.
Yeah.
Beer is supposed to be fun. Let's have fun.
Hell yeah. And it's nothing but that every time. So
yeah. I'm interested to know if you've had feedback from any of those people that you sent around the town,
Oh yeah, multiple people have been like, "Oh man, I love this bus. Like, I had a great time there." Because I think the people it's like the vibe of the team. You've got like a great team. I haven't been obviously for a minute, but like the bartenders were always super lovely, good vibes. The people who go there know it's like you guys have cultivated this like energy in the place with the type of people that it attracts, because it's just such a neighborhood bar. And like people go there, and like I feel like everyone's like super respectful, but it's like the wildest brewery as far as like, I don't know. I feel like people get a little more, what's the word, like happy, like I don't know. Maybe people like they just like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like I was gonna say, people aren't. Don't picture like people getting like fucked up and vomiting and fighting, but like it's just like such an elevated experience of that fun than a regular brewery. Because you go to breweries and you just sit around and talk, right? It's not like a place that you go in and you're like kind of wilding out with your friends. You guys have good music and it's kind of turned up loud a little bit, so you're kind of talking a bit louder. So it feels like a bar atmosphere, but it's a brewery. Like
it's a bar brewery. For sure. It's a bar for sure.
That's probably what I'm trying to say. It's that bar element that you've got that most breweries do not have. That's what I'm trying to say.
But then, exactly. And then imagine like a bar got to have its own brewery. So this is another theme that I want to touch on a lot tonight, is like the reason I'm here, even though it is that bar, are those people, is that community, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's interesting that like, built this community with the idea of not having this brewery, and then the community gave us the brewery to give beer back to the community and serve the community. And I know I'm going to use that stupid catchword a lot too, but like it's so true. Like, I am evidence of this story of this place that happened, of these events that happened at this place. And I think that there's probably so many wicked neighborhood bars. Like I've got mine, and I think people have theirs too. And I think that's what surprises people, is like you got this neighborhood bar with this killer feel that also is a brewery.
Yes, and I think there's a clientele that wants that. There's a clientele who doesn't care, and they're your neighborhood bar, and it's just a good vibe, and everything's good there. But maybe there's people like us who are like craft beer fans who I don't like to go places that don't have good beer. It's really important to that experience. I'm not trying to go out and then see the list and be like, fuck. Like I definitely cater where I go to that. But if you want to have more fun, that's what you guys provide, that I feel is a slightly different experience than other breweries, because it's always a good time wherever you go, but it's just a different experience, and it's like it's just
look, Craig, look, Mike, wherever we go, always a good time.
Always.
If we're there, it's going to be a good time.
It's fucking going off, man. It's fucking going off, tits, bro. So let's just give us the breakdown. As much detail as you want, because if people want to listen back to the old episode, go for it. But we're going to run through it again because it has been a while. So yeah, tell us about what led up to how it all started. So I guess a little back before 10 years ago.
So the bar was started by like 4 college roommates, basically.
Okay.
And I don't know that they all live together, but they all live together in different configurations over the years. But I don't know if they all live in the same place at the same time.
Okay.
Who like went on a boys trip to like the Hamptons because they're like cab, and like decided that would be a good place to go.
Okay.
Right. And so they're like partying on the beach, and the story is like, we bought so many beers, but then we drank them all the first night. I wasn't there. So it was like 4 other dudes. Frank Frank was on the last podcast. Dominic, Pierre, and Remy. So they go and have this party, and like Pierre, who lives in Hochelaga already, is like, "Yo, Hochelaga needs a bar, because the bars are just, taverns for old boomers and older, So then they're like, yeah, they're like 25, when they have this conversation. So then they just like scrape for a few years and open up this bar as a bar for a year, as like a beer bar, Like they were buying craft beer from around. And then Frank was also brewing some contract stuff around in Saint-Hyacinthe, like Brassard du Monde, Bilbaquet. I think later we were up in Stash. I don't remember, a bunch of contract brews,
Okay.
And then after a year in 2013, so the bar opened on January 31st, 2011. New Year's Eve 2011.
Oh, okay.
It was the opening date. And then like they rolled for a year as a beer bar. And then they like installed the gear and hired a brewer, me.
Okay. Did you tell me this last time? Because I totally forgot that.
Yes, definitely. Including the Hamptons, and it was probably way longer. And
wow, I got the worst memory ever.
Yeah.
I feel like I blank out on these afterwards. I don't really remember. I'm fucking off my head. So, that is amazing. And then you were the head brewer. Previous to L'Espace, where did you work at?
I worked at McCausland and the three brewers. We started at McCausland and like, the Trois Brasseurs. I'm just speaking English.
Ah, c'est ça. Luke, mate.
Yeah, so those two spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bigger places.
Yeah, I was in two spots. But I started at McCausland in like 2007 or 8, 2007. And then maybe 3B, I started in 2012. So I only worked at 3B for like a year and a half. But I did both spots for a while in 2013, like L'Espace Public and Les Trois Brasseurs.
Okay, so it was kind of part-time for both type of thing?
I was just working doubles, for 2 months.
What completely just a side note, I really like that Adidas jacket. Which one is it? Because Adidas is my brand. I've got a bunch of stuff, but I really like the I think I might have seen. Is it like a new one? What's the thing? Or you don't know?
What are you talking about?
The jacket. Sorry, it's a complete side thing because you're going like that, and I realize it's like a real sick. I like the stripes and the color of the stripes and stuff.
Yeah. So this jacket I wore the first time we met at Hip Hop Karaoke when I was singing Dead Prez Hip Hop. I wore this jacket, and I bought this jacket probably in like 2003 or 2000, when Dead Prez's third studio full length came out, RBGs, and I wanted to I bought this red, black, and green jacket, which I think now, but I've had it for now 20 years or whatever. I think it's a Bulgarian football jacket or something, a Bulgarian warm-up jacket.
I was going to say, yes, I've seen other similar ones that were released recently that look similar as far as like the type of thing, and they were just for some like random countries fucking thing. I've totally fucking wrote that. I totally forgot that you performed at Hip Hop Karaoke, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Oh, Tiffany, listen. I think I went back and okay, I see what you've got there. Okay. Yeah, it's that. It doesn't say the country, but that's fire, super fire. I forgot that you.
I don't know, dude.
That's okay. I know I'm derailing us, but I forgot that that's how we met. So when I first moved to Montreal, Tiff and I and a bunch of people were running this event called Hip Hop Karaoke.
I did not remember that you were there, that we had met. We only found that out like many, many years later, like in 2018 or 19 or whatever.
There's actually another story. So that means we met on 2 occasions. The second one you don't remember. So the first one was that neither of us remember. Unless
that
you
was
do
like at a beer festival.
Yeah. Okay, you do remember that. And I'm not mad at not from memory. It's a fucking beer festival.
You've told me about it. I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go. So there was that thing, and I went and found the video because we used to film everything and put it up on the YouTube channel. So I found the video of you doing that because I was like, "What the fuck? That's crazy!" And then I think it was 2014.
You can click the link down low to hit that video.
Do you know what? I will put that in there. Let me take that note. I'm dead serious. I'm gonna fucking put that. I've got a little note thing here, and I'll put it in. So that was the first time that neither of us remember because it was before I had any like major involvement in beer. And then at 90, Ad Simo performing. What did you do? Hip hop. Okay, cool. The second time, it was 2014. I'd released a video for Brewheads, the theme song of the podcast, and we went to what's it called?
Chambly,
Bièse de Sauveur. It was the first time there, and I thought, well, because I wasn't doing the podcast then, and because I had filmed the video, I reached out to a bunch of breweries I liked anyway. I was like, hey, can we film that? And we did it at like 6 or 7 places. So I thought, you know what? Maybe if people saw the video because it was very Montreal centric, people might recognize me. I'll get some free beer or some shit. So I wore the same outfit from the video to the festival, and then I saw L'Espace, and I'd been there before. A friend took me there. He had an art show on the wall. His art was on the wall, photography or art or some shit, and that was the first time I went. And then you came up. You were really drunk, day drunk, I believe, and you had a denim sleeveless jacket on that had the L'Espace logo.
Yeah.
And you must have seen the video, and you were like, yo, do you want to, I think you gave me a beer first of all, and then you're like, do you want to swap jackets? Like, I give you, as in you give me the jacket and I give you the top, and it was only because it's the only one I had. Like, I have one of one, I still have that thing. And I was like, oh, probably not, man. And then you were like, cool. And that was it. It was just really funny.
I was not mean to you. That's good.
Oh, no. Why would you be mean? You're Simo.
I was not like, give me that fucking shirt, buddy.
There was no malice. You were completely chill about it. But I just thought it was really funny because, you know, I think I was drinking too and shit, but it was just cool. So you and me have had, what do you call, close encounters before we ended up linking. And I remember the night I met you too at Wild Shack. Did the Le Grand Guignol New England IPA. It was one of the first New England IPAs in Quebec because it was really impossible to get. And I think it was January 20, I want to say 17, and it was fucking brick, like minus 30. We took our neighbor and we Ubered down.
Yeah.
I went there, and then I met you there, I think, and I wasn't sure if it was because Noah. That was the night I met Noah as well, Noah Forrest, and he came with Remy.
Noah was there?
Noah was there. It's the first time I met him. It was Noah, Remy, and Max came together, and they sat next to us, and then me, Tiff, and our friend, and we drank like 3 pints of this, the haze, and they didn't get any of it, and it was their beer, and there was like, they got like half a pint because the keg tapped, and that was it. The keg kicked.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I think I met you that night. So it was a good time. It was great. Look at that. See, I got so many of the smart stories. It's beautiful. So look, I digress. I don't mean to distract. I distracted us with the jacket. So you were working at the 2 places. At the time, you were just an employee of L'Espace, so this was 2012.
Yeah, well, I mean, they hired me as like a de facto brewmaster. I mean, we'll see tonight. There are 2 recipes that already existed. And, you know, there were more than that. You know, Frank probably had 10 recipes under his belt. So Frank was a home brewer, and that's why he wanted to start a brewery. Frank and Don were like brewing at home. I think mostly Frank, and Don might be mad if he sees this, but whatever. And so Frank had some recipes, and he had brewed some of those contract brews, and he even started up the rig at L'Espace Public in the basement for like 6 months before they hired me, you know?
Okay.
So I started then, and then when we launched the cans in 2015, I bought in to the company.
Okay. Oh,
for like for like cash input to buy these cans and to start this other company.
So it was a separate company to the bar itself.
Correct. So I'm not a partner in the bar. I'm a partner in this other company.
Okay, which is the cans, not what gets poured there.
Which is the brewery here, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, that makes sense. So what made you want to commit? I guess you just believed in the brand and you were proud of what you were doing and you thought it would have some legs?
This is a similar story or a similar response I'm going to say for a lot of tonight. Is it's the people. It's always been the people. It's been this community, and it's been these people, man. I hadn't found this before, like, my spot.
Yeah.
And so I found the spot, found the people, found my people,
I think I agree wholeheartedly, man. Like it always just feels like Simon's place. I mean, I guess you've become the face of it. Is that fair to say?
People have said that. Yeah, I'm not stoked on it necessarily, but my face is on that fucking T-shirt. They asked me, like, I was like in summer vacation or something, and they had this artist, Cedric, who's like a homie from the bar, and he does all the art for the dispensary, the dispensaire.
Yeah,
with Jesse and Arnaud, the brewer over there.
Cedric
does all of their art, and he was designing T-shirts for us, and they were like, "Oh, can we put you on a T-shirt?" Yeah, all right, sure, whatever. But I thought for sure they would put me in like some mesh or like naked or some shit, I thought for sure you would see my torso, my torso naked, my torso nu. But no, it's just my big stupid face. So I think that like I did a lot of like communications work for the company, for the brewery, for the bar, for our spot, our people, our community. And so it's easy for people to say, like what you just said, like this guy was like the spokesperson,
I feel like just in my experience anyway, I mean, maybe because you are the person from the company that I met, but it was like whenever I went there, you were always there. I mean, you were brewing, I guess. I met Frank maybe one other time outside of the pod.
And caveat to the statement I just made, I did a lot of communications work. What I meant to say was I like invited my friends over to party with me and drink beer and like talk to people while I was partying and drinking beer. You know what I mean?
So then, you brought the party. You were essentially a club promoter. That's what you were, goddammit.
I do think, man, and like, my background is from being in bands and doing events and shows and shit. And I do think a lot about, I just said about, I do think a lot about doing stuff like that. And because, I use those skills in the brew pub, you just like throw a party, man, have a show, invite people over and hang out.
Yeah.
And I do think about that now for larger future projects and getting teams together to do stuff like that is cool and attractive to me. So what I get off on is like having people together and partying for sure.
I mean, I guess that comes back to what we were saying before. It's probably that vibe that brought that element to the bar. Is that fair to say? And I imagine that was shared between the other partners too.
It's hard to say. So, I mean, it was definitely a mandate that I received was to like do these beer nights and like share knowledge with the community, which is like can be seen positively or like can be seen like jive whack, like, hey everybody, I'm here to teach you about the beer tonight. You know what I mean? But I think the events worked well, and then I just kept rolling. So one thing that was very and I hope we didn't talk about all this on the other podcast.
Who cares?
What was very interesting to me was like stimulating my socialist appetite of like bringing people together to do stuff together and sharing knowledge and open sourcing shit, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Breaking down barriers between brewers, breaking down barriers between the clientele, breaking the consumer and the producer and the service aspect, and like just like opening that shit wide open.
Okay. I feel like that's, I resonate with that because I feel like I've met a lot of people at Les Bus, either for the first time or like hung out with them, like a lot of industry people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right.
like multiple times. I feel like just people are always there. I remember not even like just before the pandemic, the Blood Brothers, like Braden and Dustin were out there, and like I'd met them in Toronto before, but we hung out all night with them there at the brewery and stuff. And the Overhop girls, Alex Bastien from Bastion Hops, just so many people in general that it just, I mean, you guys collaborate a lot. And I think you're like the dude that like everybody knows, you know, like beer people. I notice there's certain people that like just everyone knows that certain individuals. And I know some of those people, but you are definitely one of those folks that I feel like you said, your love of people kind of like, you can't help yourself, and you just kind of, people gravitate to you because you've got good energy and you do a lot of collaboration. So you want to share, like you said, share knowledge and just work and do cool shit.
And like I said, I want to share that. So it's for me, you know what I mean? Like the reason I do all this shit is for me. And I think it's likely classic extrovert behavior if you wanted to categorize it, or if you want to define it in that duality or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like inviting people over and having a time. You know what I mean? I like going out with people and having a time. That's what I want to do, you know? And like in beer, since I've become a brewer, I also like then want to talk about beer and drink beer.
Right? Which is perfect. That inhibits more good times. Self-fulfilling prophecy right there, you know? With that said, do you want to hit the next one?
Monty.
Could you please get Monty?
The Monty.
What are we talking with Monty? What's the vibes?
This is one of Frank's recipes.
Okay.
It's one of Frank's homebrew recipes from like 2008, 9, 10, or whatever.
Okay. What style is Monty?
Special bitter. I think like back in the day, he just would have called it like a English pale ale or whatever, you know?
Interesting, because I guess at that point, it kind of like all like blends together to a degree. This style like is actually kind of like, I feel like somewhat coming back. I feel like the kids kind of fuck with this shit. To the other way, there you go. Give us that Monty, mate. Fucking beer.
Like that?
Yeah, that's bloody.
That it?
That's a bloody ripper. That is. All right, you ready? Lift it up.
I should just leave you to do it, man. You got it way better than me.
I got the camera there, so it's a little cleaner. Here we go. Yeah, look at this.
I'm just
taking a photo,
here.
Simo. Having a good time pouring, Simo. Thanks, babe. So I fuck with these styles now, yo. Like I feel like this type of kind of like old school classic stuff is like strangely enough really interesting to me. I've like I think we might have talked about it at some point, but I've started to have over the last few years like a newfound like love of lagers and things like that. And this style to me kind of comes under that, and it's sort of more, it's super interesting. Yeah, tell us about this one. This is 5%, essentially an English special bitter is what we're calling it. Yeah.
Yeah, special bitter, right? Basically, like I'm saying, it's like back in the day, you would have called this, okay, we had IPA and American Pale Ale. Well, if you have American Pale Ale, then this is an English Pale Ale, you know what I mean? Okay. So there was some more color, more caramel, and you would change the hops and the yeast. And then as we all matured, then we can like kind of hone in on, is this an ESB or a special bitter or whatever. We can use those linguistic tools.
Mm-hmm.
That may or may not mean something to the consumer, whatever. But this fits into that style guidelines, I guess, based on alcohol percentage, basically.
Okay.
It's a pale ale. It's a pale ale.
Essentially an old school English pale ale. Well, Simo, do me a favor. Put it in you.
Just put it in you, bud. Oh, yeah.
Nice. I would still call this like a special bitter, more so than an old school pale ale. I feel like if it was a pale ale, it'd be a little more. And look, I'm only going off like my perception of that style, which is probably quite subjective. But I would feel like this doesn't have, like the old school English IPAs. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't know if I can put my finger on what's different, but there's like some sort of caramel toffee in this that I really recognize from an ESB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And all that being said, you know, even though I tried not to fuck with these recipes, I tried to like brew the thing that as it existed 10 years ago.
Right.
I was not able to, so I definitely would have, you know, taken information and experience from my years of doing this. And like, I got a shout out to my man Julian Lafortune, who is the co-brewer here, and with the head brewer or whatever. We're just the double team, the tag team, the dynamic duo going on. So I mean, we definitely revisited based after our years of experience. But yeah, so you got
yeah. Tell me about
what
it.
I think is really cool is the pear, meadow grass, this like succulent thing it is so common in ESBs because of like malt sugars and like those English hops that really get into this like juicy pear joint like right off the top. Yeah, it's so attractive to all those, and like, you know, peach and those like fruit tree things, meadow orchard tree things that are going on, and a crisp bitterness. So already you'll see this is probably about the same bitterness as the last beer, right? Do you notice it being perceptibly higher or lower or
lower?
Lower, you think?
Yeah.
I think they're likely about even. Maybe we should have started with this. I was hesitant, you know.
It's
Look
okay.
at this nice color, man.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Color's looking great. Mine's a little cold because I've just grabbed it from the fridge. So I got a feeling like as we talk, it's going to open up a little bit. I'm going to catch a bit more. Right now, it's beautiful and crisp. Everything you described it perfect. I love the cereal vibes, like the real toffee malt is money.
Yeah.
I feel like it's subtle, but maybe as it warms, the bitterness will ramp up, and then it'll start to get more like the double. You're probably right, bro. You know more about this shit than me. I like the balanced sweetness in it too. Like I feel like this style is like, because it's so malt forward, is inherently a little sweeter. It's just so crushable. This is a great, like a food beer. Like you can sit there and just crush them. I would love to have this with a meal. I feel like it would really complement the flavors of, I don't know what specifically. I'm not that good with that shit, but I just feel like this is be really tasty with.
I mean, anything roasted, anything sweet, you know.
Yeah.
Apple pie.
It's fucking delicious.
Who cares? Just drink it.
Just put it. I wouldn't say drink it. I'd say put it in you.
Put it in you.
Fucking put it in you.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm proud that like this is an old timey thing for Frank, and I think Frank's stoked about this beer, and I'm happy. I think people are stoked. This was always a good seller at the bar, you know. Pale ales, Monty Python, and like Frank's appreciation of Monty Python.
Oh, was that why the crown on the pigeon?
Yeah, the Holy Grail. So the name of the beer at first was Monty Python's Killer Rabbit.
Okay.
That somehow always flew under the radar of whatever huge conglomerate is like owns the rights to Monty Python. We got hit by Star Wars. We got hit by many different, entertainment organizations or pop culture organizations for like riffing on some shit, like people do. But Monty Python never ever got wind.
You didn't want to push your luck on this one? You thought you just abbreviate a bit?
Well, maybe not. Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, all of these beers kind of got abbreviated. Oh no, I mean no, they're all direct shout outs without saying it. I don't know. I think we could get hit by any of these people. We'll see.
Fuck it.
You know, they're like, are they one-off beers? I think it's like you said, and like I was saying earlier, it's something I want to touch on about these styles that, like you said, are gaining steam. Maybe not the Belgian doubles, but you know, now we're gonna get into this special bitter, and then we got this American Pale Ale coming up, and the West Coast IPA coming up. Like, people are doing this. Yeah.
It really is,
and
man.
So we thought there would be one-offs, but people are saying like, oh, this could stick around. I don't know.
How does that feel? How do you feel about that?
Sure, I don't know. Whatever the people want, man. I want to brew beer for my community, not whatever like. Yeah, I want to brew beer for my community. So if my community wants that, let's go.
I love it, bro. That's what the fuck it's about, right? So the
Yeah.
Okay, so this is beautiful, really enjoying it, and I think that's a really good point that you made, that like we're talking about it coming back, and I guess as we get into it we'll talk more, but I think it's just like, it's kind of fascinating that, you know, you're a brewery that's celebrating such a massive milestone that isn't the most common thing in the world. I do a lot of these podcasts. I don't talk to many breweries who've been around for 10 years, to be honest, and so already that's
nice.
huge. No, honestly, it's a big deal, and you know, a bit of a bonus here because, you know, you're the homie, right? So like, we actually talk, and I'm genuinely stoked for you guys. So I think what you did with this is just such a fun throwback, and just bringing back these old recipes, but it's extra, because you could have brought, you know, I don't know, 10 years ago you couldn't be making anything, and maybe some of those styles were so like nobody's buying that beer, but
like a Belgian Dubbel, you mean?
not in this province. If you're in Ontario, you'll probably have a bit more trouble.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's selling fine. I don't see a ton around here, so
there you go. I think here in Quebec, you guys literally have no problem moving a Belgian style beer. But even just like, you know, people want the West Coast. This is like, I see a lot of people, a lot of like the more purist type of beer nerds that I know, like lose this shit. Like, I genuinely mean it. Like over ESBs in general, like or English milds, they really get excited about it. And at first I kind of was like, relax, bro, like, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I really have this appreciation for it. So I was really looking.
You were like, look, mate.
I was like, Simmer. Look. Should we call this episode Lyric, mate? How do you spell lyric?
If you want.
How do you spell it?
Lyric, mate. Lyric, mate.
Like Luke?
Yeah, that's Luke. Luke, mate. Luke, mate. It sounds different.
MAIT.
Luke, mate.
Luke, mate. Love it. Okay, so I keep distracting you. So we were obviously, you know, so you said 2015, you bought in. You guys were doing cans. So you guys were. I distinctly remember seeing your stuff around because you were one of the first breweries to go straight into cans. At the time, I felt like Quebec was a bit behind. A lot of their stuff was in the 330 or 375 ml bottles.
We were, yeah, for sure.
And you were doing the short cans, and I feel like you guys hit on something like fucking 5-6 years before it was like cool, because you were doing low ABV beers predominantly, which is your shit, like sub 5, I would say, for the most part. Is that fair to say?
So that was definitely yeah, for sure.
And doing them in short cans, so it's like you were making products that people would probably buy in bulk. Fair?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. That's like for a retail expert in Quebec, because our beers are likely still sold the vast majority in singles and loosies. You know, people buy 1 or 2 beers for sure in general.
Because they're so light, though, would you say? Because like, and I guess I'm thinking of you specifically, because you and I always told you have a preference for lower ABV beers because you like to, you know, have more beers over a longer time than maybe like 3-8%.
For sure. What happened is just, well, there's 2 things that happened. We were a contract brewery. Oh, this is a bad story to tell. I think we did talk about a lot of the canning shit on the last podcast, but I'll tell the story. Everybody knows the story. Like, production or contract breweries have higher overheads because they pay for contracting, and then they pay for distribution. You know what I mean? And so their cost is just that. It's just the contracting. Everybody pays for distribution, but like all of a sudden you have 20% added on top of the cost to the consumer. You know? So the reason our beers, I don't feel like, and I mean, everybody out there can correct me if I'm wrong, and please do buy the beer in volume if you can, you know? The reason the beer, the price point was high at the beginning, the price point was high, too high to buy in volume.
Okay.
I feel like.
Fair.
And the reason that was so high was because of the contract aspect. We had this other cut to shell out. And so all of a sudden we had a can that was $3, a small can that was $3, you know? and that's like 5 years ago, or coming up on 7 years ago. And like, I think people couldn't get behind that, or like couldn't get behind buying, spending $75 on a case of beer at that time. Now I think beer people don't care, and I don't know. I certainly felt as if I was an agent of gentrification of the beer scape or the beer market, of like driving up prices. I do feel that way, man. That like we sold small cans for X amount of dollars that people were like, oh shit, did you see how much Homeboy was selling it? But I think that's also a fallacy at the same time. That's my emotions, but I think that my man Remy crunched the numbers then and there, and like liter per liter, we always tried to stay in the ballpark of what the competitors were doing, and still make some kind of a profit. Some beers you don't make a profit on, and certainly when we were contract brewing, there were beers that we did not make profit on, and you just want to, take up market share and like move beers to let people know you're there. But having had that inflated price because of contract brewing has like given us buffer room. So now that we have our own facility, that the prices have stayed relatively stable. You know what I mean?
And
so it's not like,
margin.
we get the same margin. Even now we're charging a similar amount for the beer as we charged 6 years ago or 7 years ago. But that as of 2 years ago, we were able to absorb, you know what I mean? Inflation and everything. That was the cut from the contract brewery at the time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Has that changed in this facility that you're in, which we're going to talk about in a second? But now that you're able to brew it all yourself, control everything from packaging, from making it up to packaging, and then obviously selling it out of your boutique that you have at the big facility, and then obviously through your distribution network, has that made it a little better, easier? Yeah, show them around.
Can I turn this shit around? I don't know how.
Fuck. Oh, do you know what? On this, probably not. So just do a spin if you can.
I'm on a chair that rolls.
Look at that. So right behind you there is that's the tasting room. There's a couple humans in there.
Partying.
Look, just having a good fucking time.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, it's a bloody ripper, that is. It's a beautiful facility. We'll talk about it in a sec. But has that made it a little? Has it eased any pressures or made things a little smoother for you?
What do you mean, dude?
So like, you obviously when you contract, there's things that you can't control. You physically weren't allowed to brew, and also there's less cut you have to give.
I think it's apples and oranges. Like I said about the profit cut, we were able to like keep our prices relatively similar since 7 years ago. Now having our own space, but it's not like we're making 20% more on the beer. It's that everything's gone up, especially now. You know what I mean?
Right.
But as far as like the having control over the beers, of course, at one point I like did not brew the beer anymore, and now I do make every beer.
So you're happier with the product? I mean, because
That's
now
changed.
if it fucks up, it's on you, as opposed to like, man, this guy didn't do it right or whatever,
You know what's funny is like, am I happy with the product? I think that, when you, I don't at the risk of sounding pretentious, when you make art or when you make stuff, it's not whatever art. When you make stuff, you're often not stoked about it as the creator, right? And you gotta keep working. So it's still that, you know what I mean? But people have noticed a change in the way the beer tastes.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to say quality because it sounds like I'm throwing shade at this other producer, which I'm not, because my man Julien Lafortune, who I've already shouted out, was the brewer at the contract space too. He's now the brewer here, but he was the guy over there too. But they had a lot of beers to brew, and they couldn't spend as many hours per recipe as I can here. You know what I mean? But on the overall, people are like stoked on the way the beers are coming out, and that's a comment that I've had a lot since we opened. Like, the beers are way better every time. The beers are better. The beers are always better. And cool. That's great. Is it something I noticed? I guess, but I still think the beers could be better. I think that's just like being the creator. You're always think you can get better.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you're a fucking dickhead.
Or yeah, you're not being harsh enough. God damn it. Every brewer I've ever spoken to who is contracting and then moved to their own facility has said exactly that. Overhop is another example. The homies as well. Like they, their stuff is more how they wanted it because of that control. So I was just curious to see.
So I think that's the tag that I'll put on there. So I mean, I've talked to other people who since I've left contract brewing, they're still there, and like they bitch about that shit still, right? Of like, I don't have control. Sure, fine, man. But when you're contract brewing, you don't have to be there like shoveling shit all motherfucking day or whatever it is. Whatever's going down, you gotta be there for 20 hours, or you jackhammering, you're digging. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much fucking work. And when you're contract brewing, it's sitting pretty for real. And so when you have that control, it comes with major responsibilities of fulfilling your promise to your consumer. You know what I mean? Of like making calls that like, can be difficult, or I don't know. I think that like having control is not necessarily a means to an end. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away your worries. It way amplifies your worries exponentially. And not me, obviously. This is a stress-free zone. You know me. And I mean, but like I'm a G, and like I know how this shit works, and I can make it work. You know what I mean? But to all those people who like want to open a brewery, it's a pain in the ass, man. For real.
I can imagine. I've never, as much as I'm sort of adjacent to the beer world, I've never had any aspirations to do it. I see what you guys go through. I'm like, I'm gonna stay this side and just enjoy the products and enjoy the people and not have to shovel the shit. Fuck that.
It's interesting that like, so again, I keep talking about the theme of, this public is the people. It's the people who are at the bar. It's the people who buy the beer. It's the people who work here. And specifically to the people who work here, I think what made me flip modes from like
Flip mode squad,
not wanting to be a brewery with beers on the shelves to like making beers on the shelves was twofold. Was one, like working with my business partners, because I always had a great time working with Frank and Dom and Pierre and Remy. I'd never worked with, but now I have. So I was driven, because they were driven to work for the company, because they did not for a long time,
Okay.
until we started making more bank to bring those people on, my business partners. So now we're all employees of the company, except for one person. But I am really driven, and this is gonna sound like some fucking white boy, merchant ass shit. But like I really love creating jobs for people. That's the driver for me, is to like make money so people can get money, man. You know what I mean?
Bro, that's not a bad thing at all. That's been I resonate with that strongly. It's nothing. There's nothing bad to say about that, bro. That's amazing.
No. But like, it's a position of privilege. It's like a statement that I can make because I'm a privileged motherfucker, that I have this shit, and that I say that my major driver is to give, to share this with the community around me, including jobs and specifically jobs in this case. So
providing opportunities.
But throwing back to what I was saying before, that is responsibility. You got payroll to hit, and that's real.
Yeah, it is.
But that's what it's all about for me. That's the major driver for me, and I think the same thing of a lot of people in the organization. all people in the organization. Of course, everybody wants to have love and share love and be love up in this.
I fucking love it, man. I think that's really admirable, and I haven't heard anyone say that for a while. It's something that when Tiff and I always had the goal for our shit to employ people to share opportunities with people and just to do shit and actually contribute and give back. You can pour that up there. This is what did you call it before? Couple of pops for dad.
Dad pops.
This is what Simo does when you're drinking with a slow bloke like me. You got to have a couple crushes in between. That's the old classic beer de Balcon, framboise. You know the fucking vibes.
So what I always say about the Balcon is like, you know, it's your anytime beer. So this is like a placeholder beer for me right now, but you can drink a Balcon, like, I don't know, before you take your driving test, before you go to the dentist, before you fucking have your baby shower, before you go to a funeral, like before you brush your teeth or whatever. This is a beer you can just put anywhere.
Some might say put it in you.
You can put it in you wherever you want.
That's the episode. Put it in you is the best episode name. What am I talking? Look, mate, put it in you. Oh yeah, I gotta note that down. So I want to move on to the new facility as well. But maybe, I don't know, do we want to talk about, like, you know, one of the things that I said to you, we both seem to love about the original pub is the good times there, like the parties and stuff like that. I don't know if you want to like touch on that and just sort of what you've sort of created for both the brand, for the people, for the community, and for Hochelaga. Like, you think of Hochelaga, I think of L'Espace Public.
All respect.
Well, Simo, but
yeah, I have a list of like notes of like parties and like stories and like, you know, I don't know, man. It's a crazy spot. L'Espace Public is a dope, really great spot. I mean, I don't know who your viewership is. If people who haven't been, you should go.
Cosign.
If you're an MTL, I think like it can be described. People describe it as like a dive bar scene, and it is that insofar as a dive bar has a community of people. You know, like Craig says, it's not just wasted people fighting and puking and shit.
No.
There is that. There's actually very little fighting at the bar, which is cool. Obviously, it's a craft beer and it's 2020, whatever. But like, there's been very, very, very few episodes of violence, which is ideal in any place of business. You know what I mean? You want very few episodes of violence wherever you work. But we're a bar. Yeah. I don't know, man. What I want to say, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it's a collection of stories. It's a coming together point with the confluence of like people's, you know, political views, meteorological views, just a neighborhood bar, like a place where everybody comes together, everybody is welcome, and it's all good, man. I don't know.
Do you have any, like, does anything come to mind, maybe like the craziest shit you've seen, and not in a bad way, like, or the coolest thing that you think may have happened at the bar, or maybe like a cool thing, like, well, these two people connected at the bar, I was there when they met, and then they went and did this cool thing, like something like that?
Yeah, so a few marriages, and that's real, man. That's like people meeting and getting married because of this place. That's really cool. There's a few babies of people meeting and getting married and having babies because of this place, you know?
Amazing.
And people sticking around. Like I said, we've been around for 10 years. Well, there's a lot of employees still with us that have been there for 10 years. And, so in the sense of the craziest shit, I mean, that's crazy. A place that like I'm deeply involved and committed to and whatever has produced this extra community, you know what I mean, has produced this thing that like doesn't necessarily happen. I don't know. That's cool. You know, babies. We made beers and then we made babies. So that's
beers
cool.
and babies. Ooh, that could be another episode.
Some of the like, this is going to be gross, but for people is like some community of crew, and it gets really rowdy on some nights with dick beers, like homies like putting their dicks in beers on like a particularly busy night of the year. That sounds really offensive. Obviously, it is really offensive.
Here for it.
In the right context, it's beautiful.
Dick beers.
That was a bad one. I shouldn't have told that one, Si. What are you going to say now?
Well, I want to be like, how can I get involved?
Yeah, we can't. You and I can't.
Yeah, we got too far.
We can't do it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We don't have what it takes.
Oh,
I'm not even talking about I'm not talking about packing either. I'm not talking about holding on down there. I'm just saying I don't have charisma. I don't have enough charisma and personality to put my dick in a beer and have it be beautiful and have it be like a thing. You know
who drinks the beer? Is it the person who puts it? It's your own beer. They put it in their own beer.
No, normally somebody else. Sometimes. Normally, look, it's only happened a handful of times.
Well, we can take this offline and we can talk about this afterwards because I'm gonna need to know more about the dick beers.
I shouldn't have told that one. Look, another beautiful thing about the bar, or like amazing things. I didn't look at my notes here.
Yeah, I like that you got these. Look at this, Simon. This, ladies and gentlemen, is how you come prepared for a conversation. This is beautiful. You look like a mafia dude who just went to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's part of the look. Like I was saying before the podcast, I was telling Craig what I want to. I got this like biker thing going on
with that mullet, soon to be mullet. Oof.
The reason I said the dick beers was because it was on the top of the list, but it was not in order of importance at all. It was a brainstorm, and so now I'm like looking at all of it. All of it's relatively. It's relatively vapid in the sense that it was like, you know, moments that happened. They're great stories. All these are stories. I'm going to stand by what I said before, that the most amazing thing that I've seen is like people getting married and having babies because of the thing. Oh yeah, wait a second. This one's crazy. And I know like I'm going to keep talking about babies, whatever.
Yes.
I know you don't, but like this beer.
Yes, back on.
I brewed for a midwife service. So there was a particular midwife community that like had babies for all of the people, for like 10 babies who were born at the bar like 6, 7 years ago, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever. And when I'm sure I told this story on the last podcast too, but here we go.
You probably did. Who even knows?
I just like, I didn't have any other presents to give to my midwife. So I was like, yo, I make beer. I'm going to make this beer. And that was a really beautiful moment to see these like people who don't come drink craft beer, hanging out, drinking this craft beer. And then they were like, really like, don't tell anybody we're here drinking this beer because we're not supposed to be drinking beer or whatever. That was a cool moment.
That's sick. I love that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think even like you and I have done like 4 or 5 collabs since 2018, and even just our experience doing those and having the parties and stuff, we were just speaking to everything that you're saying. Like we did the first beer of Vacance in 2018, which was our creamsicle sour with lactose, and we did it in the bar. And then we had the launch that was during Montreal in 2018, I believe. Got really fucked up because we kept having the pint glasses, and because you guys are literally the most hospitable humans in the world, you would take the pint glass and wherever I'm at, you just top it back up. So I had no gauge as to how much I was drinking. That night fucked my entire week because I had podcasts at Montreal all week. I was dying for like 4 days afterwards. So that means you had a good fucking time. And we did another version, a ramped up version, the 6% at the bar. And we had an event for that. Then we did the blackberry blueberry version. We called the Dream Sequel because it was originally called the Dreamsicle, and then we changed the name. And then we ended up packaging
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was like last week or the week before. I think that was the following year. I think we did. I can't even remember. It was 2018 and 2019. We did like 3 versions on draft only to test it out. And it was just such a fantastic experience because we came and hung out for brew day and everything. And like, once again, hanging out with Simo is always a pleasure. And you let us put the lactose in, and like, you even made the first version. You made a marmalade with limes and oranges and stuff. Made the vanilla essence, with liquor, I guess vodka and the fucking.
Which is still how we do it now. So
it's beautiful.
We went back to the OG way, and like
it's killer.
That's the best way.
And like those experiences, just to speak to that on the bar, like we had parties for everyone, and a lot of the time, like people will come by and hang out, and there'd be other brewery friends because they already know you guys, so they were probably going to be there anyway.
Because that's my shit. Because my whole thing is like, okay, if we make this beer. All good to make a beer. I want to like have a moment where we all come together and do that. Sorry, continue.
No, that was it. I want this to be both of us contributing to this, but like doing these collabs with you means a real lot to us, man. Like, when you offered to do these in cans in 2019, the first time I think it was, and then we had at Depanneur the pickup in like kind of Milex or wherever the fuck that was, kind of the little Italy area.
Milex.
Yeah, we had this wicked party with a barbecue, and like we did the can launch there, and they just looked so sexy, and it was just like so dope. And now
that was me. That was me and you who were sexy though.
Oh yeah, we were the sexiest ones. Me, you, and the can. The can. The vibes.
Obviously.
Me and Simo out here, and it was just so
between
dope.
Between me, you, and the can.
Woo! It's a threesome I'd love to see again. Fucking kidding. And it was just such a dope vibe, man. Like, I think about that from time to time because it was just so good. And now we've created, and this is like just my experience with you. And I know you do a lot of great collabs, which I really love. And the fact that you are down to do this every year, you always check in with me when you don't have to do this beer again. We do it every summer, which has become something that people really look forward to. And then we did the blueberry guava passion fruit one in like I think it was November, December. We
should talk about that for a minute, man. People are super stoked. People love that shit.
Honestly, bro, I have some in the fridge. I always keep it on deck. It's one of my favorite things.
I went to a restaurant called Palm the other day.
Palm? I love Palm. Jamaican.
Oh my god. It's like Caribbean.
Haitian. Caribbean. Sorry.
But it is. They do throw to JA. They throw to Trinity's. It's a Caribbean spot,
It's our fave. Love it.
Yo, they had 2 beers available. One was Red Stripe, and the other was the Vacances Goyave. The blueberry guava shit.
Palm stocks the Beat of Vacances, the blueberry palm.
Oh, sick.
That's honestly, bro. Like,
oh my god,
that is so.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I walked in.
You're like,
and like I get some rum, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a beer like with my, main or whatever. And they got 2 beers, Stripe and fucking Vacances blueberry guava.
Did you tell them?
Sick. Yo, I didn't tell him. That restaurant is amazing, man. That's all I want to eat. I just want to tell everybody right now. Palm. Everybody right now, go hit up Palm on St. Catherine Street. It's amazing.
It's
the best.
Honestly, the best. They have these crazy like spring rolls that they put like Caribbean shit into that we always get.
Yes.
The mac and cheese with the fried chicken, and they got like the shrimps in the mac and cheese. Oh man, Palm is the problem. We had to stop getting it because it was like, the beer's bad enough, but we have to like space it out when we get. We were getting it like every other week. It was like it's a lot. It's just so good, man. Fantastic.
It's a lot. It's so good.
But I love that. That made my day. That's so beautiful. So we can bust one of those out later. But just doing that and doing these collabs with you and I, like seeing what that sort of continually, and we're always elaborating on these different things, coming up with new ideas. And if I imagine that you are doing that with a lot of the other people that you're working with, you catch a vibe, and you keeping those relationships building and just putting out dope products with people that you fuck with, and it's sort of there's just something really cool about that, and I think that's it. I don't know. It just really speaks to the brand and you specifically, because
So that's certainly on the list, right? And I think it's cool achievements. It's definitely something I can look back on and say, you know, we've done cool collaborative products. I've scratched my itch to like hang out with crew and like share moments and share ideas and share a time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that that's been cool for people. It was for me, but I hope that people enjoyed it too, you know. So I think that's why it's something that I didn't include on the list of, like I'm saying, what's been so amazing. Obviously that's been so amazing, but that's like my MO, you know. I'm out there to do that, to hang out with people and do that. And like I said a little bit earlier, that was definitely a mandate. It wasn't a mandate to invite people in and do collabs. It was a mandate to like throw parties or invite people to the bar to drink beer and me tell them about beer. Fuck that. First of all, like I have no interest in like going and telling you about the beer because I'm anti-tyranny. I'm anti like top-down information. I don't want to be the person like telling you how it is. You do you, baby. But like I'm stoked about like saying, you know, well, what's your shit like? What's up with you? Like, you live in the hood? Like, you coming over? Like, I don't know. That is amazing. But for me, I don't know if it's amazing for other people. But you know, being able to do that has been, like I said, my life is dope and I do dope shit, man. And I can't wait to get back and doing shit for real because I got lots of events I want to throw, man, and I just haven't been able to do them. You know, we did 2 beer events since the pandemic. That's it. Normally we would have done 20. You know what I mean? And we haven't. We can't. You know, you can't responsibly do them. We were talking about this earlier. Like,
yeah, it's hard.
You know?
Man. I mean,
it's hard.
Maybe things will, like, as things kind of seem like most restrictions will be dropping next month. So maybe
look, Mike. I'm booking shit, man. Like, we had a party we were supposed to do with Ildegard that we couldn't do, you know. But we got parties coming up. I'm doing the Castora's coming to town, man. My homies over at the Castora coming, and we're gonna do a party here.
Nice.
The Pickup, my man Mark, he opened another spot in March 2020 in Hochelaga, across the street from the bar, basically, 1 block over. But he does burgers right now, but like he started as like fried chicken. I don't know. This place is dope. Go check out the Pickup in Hochelaga if you haven't.
He came and hung out when we were at the brewery. He came by, didn't he? Like when we
were there.
You and Dan, when Dan came. Yes. Okay, because I remember you telling me that when me and him met when we did the thing, it was very brief at the thing. I remember he came by. Yeah, that was dope. Okay, sick.
Basically, my whole pandemic has just been hanging out with Mark. You know,
kicking it with Uncle Mark. And speaking of Mark, we're gonna bring Gary in right here, mate.
Speaking of Mark, here's Gary.
Fucking Gary, the old American Pale Ale. Can I tell you something about Gary real quick? When I was like 15, we were obsessed with the name Gary because I thought it was funny. I just thought Gary was like the funniest name ever. And then in Australia, I shit you not, it's a peak Gary obsession. And they brought out a series of flavored milks called Gary. And I couldn't believe that even happened in my life. It was like, you know, being obsessed with something dumb for no reason. Like I just called everyone Gary and that just made no sense. And then there was this flavored milk called Gary. And now we have a fucking pale ale called Gary. Bloody ripper that is, mate.
What's interesting is that I think that's a lot of people's experience with the name Gary. Like,
really?
People have told me basically exactly that in the past couple of months. Of like, yo, Gary's jokes, and it's not a real. Well, yeah. But like Gary's jokes. We used to call each other Gary. It's not a real name. And like apparently there's a statistic recently that like nobody's been named Gary officially on the record for like 5 years.
What?
Like nobody's fucking with Gary no more. Gary's not a name. It's gone. But like I thought like wasn't it? I don't and you know my entomology is going to give me away that like I don't know where Gary is from. I thought it was maybe a Gregory world. I don't know, but Gary.
I mean, it definitely gives me Gregory vibes. It's just such a funny name. Now I'm going to get a dog and call it Gary for sure. I think that's a good dog name. I feel like I've got another dog name that's even better. We're looking to get a dog soon.
Are you guys going to move to the county, man? Did you check that out? Is that happening?
It's changed in the end, but I'll talk to you about it later. But we're looking to purchase in Ontario.
Nice.
In the coming months. So not the county anymore, but closer to the fam. And you're going to get a dog. I could tell you the dog's name, Barrington. Isn't that the coolest fucking name ever for a dog?
The best name.
It's like the Jamaican dog names. I just think is like amazing. And now I need a Gary. I didn't know that about Gary.
Than Barrington Levy, believe me.
What's the next line now? Oh, Mose. What's the next line?
Something about your chief's teepee.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, your chief's teepee.
Yeah, what's that? It's redefinition. Okay, it's definition, the original one, not the remix.
I think it's redefinition. Oh, it is definition. You're right.
I think it's the original because it's got that other beat. No, hang on. It's the one with the remix.
I have that like ding 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 ding.
Yeah, that's like
I have the
beat.
Beat. I have the beat of redefinition on my head on it, but I don't know. Man. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to double check that. Classic if everyone doesn't know. So Gary's an American pale ale. Tell us about the beer and why is it called Gary? Because that's fucking awesome.
This is another Frank recipe.
Okay.
Frank pale ale. It's funny, like drinking a little bit now that I had. Yeah, he was just spitballing, you know, throwing shit at the wall at the beginning, and like you need to make a pale ale, not spitballing. I guess he had this. I don't know. Frank would be better at telling the story, I guess. But, like he had this recipe, or he made up this recipe for whatever reason. They brewed this recipe, I know, at Montreal in Saint-Hyacinthe, like one, I think, their previous installation, which was their original installation, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, the day they were bringing it back to the bar, like it was kegged, they must have gone and kegged it, and they were bringing like, 100 kegs or something to the bar. It was the day that this former Expos baseball player died.
Okay.
So this Expos baseball player who he's a shortstop, and I hope that's correct. Maybe he played second base. Gosh, I don't know. He was a player for the Expos that I am not familiar with, obviously. Maybe he was a fucking catcher for all I know. Jesus Christ. I don't think so. But homie died, and then okay, homie died. We're going to name the beer after him. Respect. And so they did. And people flipped out. People were really stoked about it 10 years ago. And I think because of the name Gary, nothing about, mostly probably not about the baseball player. The people were into the name Gary.
Interesting. I understand. I really just thought
it was It was easy to brand too. Baseball colors of this white, red, and blue thing. That's easy to like. And they got some merch. They had some Gary merch. They had some Gary coasters and shit back in the day, and people liked it. People really liked it.
I'd wear
it was a recipe that people were really stoked on it and kept asking for the beer all the time. So it was a recipe that was I brewed many times over many years, and it was always a mess, man. I always had a hard time with this recipe, and sometimes we would hit it, but oftentimes we would not. So today, the version that's brewed right now is sitting pretty with the rest of the partners in the 10-year thing. There's caramel malt. There's bitterness. There's it's a thing that people don't do. Nope. Here we are. Cheers, mate. Put it in ya.
Put some Gary in you, mate. Ooh. That's delightful. Nice and light. 25%. Piney,
the
resin.
Candy, but also like candied citrus, candied lemons, candied marmalade vibes, and then it goes into this resinous world. It's bitter, but it's not as bitter as it is in my memory. I think we've done this the right way, man. We're really ramping up into this bitterness. Because if you went into this blind, like without drinking another beer, and I have done this recently, it's like, oh boy.
It's a bit much, eh?
Well, it's just not messing around, man, and we're so not used to that. There are not beers like that anymore, man. There are beers like that are not around.
I remember, like, back in the day, this was all we cared about, was, like, tearing our tongue off with fucking bitterness. And, like, we
wanted something that, clicked in the right way for us. Yeah.
Yep. Do you know what hops are in this one, bro, by any chance? Don't stress. If you don't know it, then don't worry. I'm just going to add it to my thing, but...
I don't know off by heart. I would guess El Dorado. I would guess Topaz. Again, I had a lot of Topaz, so anything that used to be some dank stuff in the past, I would throw Topaz out right now. And for all these brews, I think there's even Topaz in the Mad Dog, not in the Monty.
Okay.
But things I used to use Columbus for, I threw Topaz at, and I also threw like El Dorado at. So I would guess El Dorado, Topaz. And there's something else. Probably Centennial. I don't remember.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
I should have done this, man.
Hey, man, this is just for me personally because I review them, but this is great. I really like.
I'm just gonna take my phone and like look it up.
It's no stress. I love it. This is fucking great though, man. I think this is a great recipe, and I think if people love Gary, like you said, because I really just thought it was us. That's even funnier to me, and that makes it even cooler. And I just feel like there's not many beers like this. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't know, the beer nerds that I see and speak to, people love this shit, man. Like a nice West Coast IPA or Pale Ale is so welcome. Like people are fiending for this flavor profile now.
I have not noticed. I don't know, dude. I know that like West Coast IPA for sure. The Pale Ale is a funny beast, right? Everybody wants a dope Pale Ale. Everybody has this idea that, like, if I can just get that really good Pale Ale, my life's going to be fixed for a minute. But there's not a ton, man. There's not a ton around.
Nope. Particularly in this taste profile. No. So that's this is great. I'm loving this so far. This is really fun, actually. It's kind of like you guys have created like a time capsule with the beer, but still being able to tweak them enough to deliver a little bit of that modernity, if that's a word, with it. But
it's not. It's definitely not the word.
It's not the word. Like it's something a little bit today. Like you probably people.
I'm probably wrong. Modernity probably is a word.
It's probably not. Who even knows? I'm making shit up. But like, say if I don't know if Topaz existed in 2013 or something, right? So like.
Well, mate, you know where Topaz is from, bro.
Get that up, mate. You know, I fucking know the vibes, mate. You know, me and Gary, mate, we fucking go back, mate. You know. Yeah.
I started buying Australian hops probably in like 20. You know, when was Galaxy? When did Galaxy explode? 2015, 2014.
Yep.
Something like that. So that's when I started buying Australian hops, and Topaz was one that jumped out at me right away. Also Ella, which became something else, right? Summer became Summer.
Ah, okay.
And it was like, and it became shit. But I remember the first time I had it, it was like, I hope the HPA is not listening. Your hops are not shit. They're obviously fine. Keep going, guys. But like Ella turned into not cool. Topaz was the hop that continued to show good quality, and I still buy it, man. I still use it in some shit. Well, as evidence right now. You know, it's like I said, I use it to replace where I used to use Columbus.
Okay, that's good because I would have thought that Columbus is.
I don't know why. Why am I paying double or triple for what I would pay for Columbus? But there's something about Topaz. Topaz is a thick hop, man.
Yeah,
I like it.
It probably delivers. I imagine it just delivers more than what Columbus does. It'd have to, for the price point.
Definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like, yeah.
So I want to talk about the. I know we've sort of like we're dragging this out, but it's important, I think, to sort of really touch on the impact that the breweries had and that the bars had. So I remember when I guess it was 2019. It must have been 2019 when the Blood Brothers were there and we were hanging out, and you had the place where you're at now, the usine, I guess they call it in French, but the factory, the warehouse, the production facility. And I know we had to film a podcast. I think we were there with Nate. And we had to come back here to do a pod, so otherwise you guys were going to check it out.
Yeah.
So I know you were working with it for a while, the construction.
Right there.
Yeah. And, you had some neighbors that were giving you a bit of a, because obviously it's pretty noisy to put together a brewery and dig all the stuff. But tell us about the process that, got you to decide, because you set it up really well by telling us that, you never had the intention to do something like this. I guess probably the first question was what changed, and then tell us about how it all happened.
So the what changed I already talked about, I already touched on. I did not talk about necessarily. What changed for me was, like I said, was to work with these people, to get jobs for my business partners, and that's it. That's what changed. Okay. So that was the driving force to like expand. This was not the first draft of the project. So we probably started working on this relatively quickly after I started. So if we founded the company in 2015, it was in the fall of 2015. That was only 2 years after I had been there. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's similar.
Just saying.
Blowing kisses.
So it must have changed relatively quickly. And I remember what the project was. So like one of my business partners is like super stoked on doing new stuff all the time. I'm like always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? We were going to start another brew pub in Chinatown, and that kind of fell through. And then we really wanted to start an industrial food producers co-op.
Okay.
And it was with a bunch of other names that were around that, 7, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever. And we worked hard, like all those companies that we were with. I don't know if I should mention them, whatever. We all put like 10, 15 grand into like advancing this project of like trying to like create a industrial food producers co-op that was like 100,000 square feet with like a marketplace in the middle, and everybody had their like place where they made food or they made their thing, and then you sold it all at the marketplace in the center. So that was like the first draft of this company. It didn't work, right? It didn't ever take off fine. But that was like the first glimpse at like fulfilling a thing that wasn't just making cans for making cans and putting our beers on the shelves, and it facilitated giving jobs to all the business partners. So on paper that thing looked good. And then like once we started going through iterations of that, we were like, okay, we should probably get some market research done. And at that time, Hochelaga was popping off, and it was an opportunity we had to like make beers under contract to see if these brands were viable, So once we found out that, yeah, the beers work, the branding works, whatever, now we could like move forward. And okay, well, the food producers co-op artisanal food producers co-op is off. Well, now we'll just work toward having our own space and building our own shit and inviting our own people over, I guess,
Dope.
Yeah. That was the sequence of events.
Okay.
That changed. But the driving force was creating jobs for my business partners, and then creating jobs for other people once we got deep into this production brewing thing. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, this is viable. Like, we can roll, and we can create 20 jobs. Let's go.
And how was it finding
That's what we did.
I love that. Was it difficult to find the spot?
space?
Yeah.
The space took 5 years and 15 spots.
Fuck.
So Frank did most of the legwork. I mean, I probably visited like 6, 7 of those spots. We got deep into negotiations with 3 of them, insofar as we spent money on 2 others. You know, at least like lawyers' fees, some architects' fees. Like we got pretty far with one at least, and then we got semi-far with another one. Frank was obsessed with having ceiling height. So you can see here, we have like 30 feet above us to the ceiling, and he was correct, obviously. Obsessed, fine, but he was really into getting the height for getting tanks. He was right, but that took a long time. This place that I'm sitting in right now went onto the market on a Thursday, and we signed the lease on Friday. It was Monday, but like on Monday only because it like had to go. And like Frank, this was another building that Frank walked past. Like they put up the sign on Thursday in the window. Frank called them on Thursday, and we had signed the lease on the Monday.
That's amazing. It was just perfect as soon as you saw it. Yeah,
it checked all the boxes. Well, you know how it is, like looking for an apartment or for a house or for whatever, you know, look, you see the thing and you're like, oh shit, I've seen 15 other of this and this is the one, you know, but it took, or did it take maybe 4 years? Fine. Between 2015 and 2019, Frank found it in 2019, 4 years, 15 buildings in a very defined location too, because we had decided we're not leaving like Hochelaga, really. One of the buildings that we went forward with was like East Plateau, that was almost in Hochelaga. Like it was like at the train tracks where like Rachel and Mount Royal end. You know what I mean? Beside the Angus.
Yeah, near
by Paluzzo, kind of.
Paluzzo.
We looked at a Yeah, we had like started with a spot there, but like that fell through. Yeah, it took a long time, and like, yeah, it is about location, and like I have no advice to give. This idea of like location. I don't know if we have the right location. We have a location. We have the right location for our needs as a company for sure. You know, but is it the right location to like move forward? I don't know. Yeah, it's great. I love it, man. And it's my garage. I live across the street.
It's could not be more convenient. When we first came and visited, you took us to the rooftop, and you're just staring at the Olympic Stadium. It's beautiful.
Right
it was
there.
Just so cool. Yeah, it's just like right there. And when we first came by, I think it was like November, not last year, but the year before. So it was starting to get nippy, but you're still working on the tap room, which is now well open. You have a private, beautiful beer garden at the back with a space now for someone to be cooking fresh food for everyone there. You got the fridges so people can actually buy your cans for the first time on premise. Everything fresh, cans and bottles as well, because you got a bunch of special stuff, which I love. And you got like a shit ton of lines.
So I'm saying, man, yeah.
It's killer, man. Like it's such a dope spot, and it's kind of cool because it's like it's right in the city, but it's like this cool tucked away sort of thing where you can just party, and it's still got that Les Spas vibe. Like it's different, but like I haven't actually been able to actually kick it there. I think, when did you open it? Were you open properly in summer? Oh no, I came past to pick up the cans in summer.
We've barely been open, man. We opened in like, July of this year. So we were open like August, September. We were open from August till December, yeah.
Okay, with obviously notwithstanding any government closures and all that stuff.
Precisely.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So that was, we were open from August, September, October, November, and I don't know. Yeah, look, we had a great time. The place is dope, man. The place is really cool, and the community likes it. And that, like I said, that's important for me personally. I think it's important for us, as a company too. But that like the people who live around here want to come here and want to hang out and like do this thing. And for the first time, Craig, I'm starting to see regulars, and that's cool, man. As like,
Love it.
people who have bars know that your bars are rolled by your regulars, man. Like, if you have a space, all you need is people going into your space, and regulars are those people, and it's amazing. It's really cool to see. We haven't seen that because, like, literally, we've been open for 4 months or whatever, 4 months, you know?
I love it.
But we reopened, like, last week or the week before, and now you can see these people coming on the same kind of days every week, and it's dope. Right on.
That's fucking amazing, bro. I never thought of it like that. For the people who are considering, like, coming to check it out, which you absolutely should, what's the difference in, say, the I know obviously the ambiance is different because it feels more like a traditional brewery tap room. Obviously the outdoor section though is completely different because it's like full tables. You're fully like locked in when this district, but the sun still hits you nice. Like, it's really nice. What are the, as far as your offerings, is there anything that you're offering at this tap room that, say, you couldn't get at the bar, or even vice versa?
Yeah, both ways, definitely. So in Quebec, in a tap room, and I think, different in all kind of provincial jurisdictions, but like, have this tap room, we can't sell liquor, first of all, so there's no shops over here. We can't even, like, in Quebec, you can't sell any other product that has not been made into alcohol at this facility.
Okay.
So how people get around this is sometimes they get 2 addresses, and then you can, like, get permission from your municipality to, like, have a bar or restaurant permit in one place and have your production facility in another. So we have a restaurant permit here, but because we've only got the one address, or because it would be, we think it would be difficult municipally to push an envelope to serve other products.
Okay.
It's something we're going to do likely in the future, is try to actually make a bar so you could come and have cider. You can come and have products that weren't manufactured here. So for the time being, the only thing that's, exactly. For the time being, the only thing on offer that has alcohol in it had to be made here.
Well, isn't
so
that a
leads
shame?
to a situation. Yeah, well,
I'm joking. It's fucking amazing.
It's cool in a certain respect. It's cool. It's a bummer for people who don't or can't drink beer. You know what I mean? And it's immediately close to them. You know what I mean?
Could you?
And
that's true.
That's like, that becomes an exclusivity thing, and it's like something I'm not stoked on for people who, like, don't drink beer and who live in the community and who want to come and get loose at the spot. You know? So that's like it's a thing for them, because not everybody drinks beer. We're talking about beer on a beer podcast, but, like, in order to be inclusive to everybody, like, ideally you have something for everybody to drink, non-alcoholic, alcoholic in all its forms, gluten-free or not, or whatever. So that's, it's not a problem. It's just a part of the experience. So if you come here, you're going to drink beer. So, but we also do have beers here that you can't get at the brew pub, and beers at the brew pub that you can't get here. Obviously, none of the beers from the brew pub could come here.
Right.
But all the beers from here can go there, but don't, because of, like, small runs. We're always, like, knocking off a few kegs of something special and cool,
I mean, that's something dope about that, though, that sort of encourages people to make sure you still check out both locations, because the brew pub has a bunch of 500 liter fermenters, or is it 60?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you've got these small
batches,
batch, and that's beautiful, right down there. You got a whole bunch of, like, real small batch specialty shit that you can only get there. Then over here, like you said, you got a bit of a mix between the stuff that you're pumping out plus all, small batch stuff. Could you do, like, could you do non-alcoholic stuff? Like, maybe you could make some, flavored carbonated water and all that type of shit. You can do those things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know how sometimes, and I imagine, I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Say, how some people do, like, cider, like Drew did something recently in Kanawaki, and he did, like, a collab with another brewery where they sort of, I think they kind of blend, like, apple must essentially with some sort of beer, and then make this kind of beer cider hybrid. Are you allowed to make some sort of cider-based product, or does it have to have the malted barley in it for you to be able to make it?
51%. So you're allowed to like bring in. Oof. No, I'm not sure. I was about to say other alcohols. I can buy finished beer from another brewery and blend it with finished beer here and package it as long as it's 51% my own beer from here.
Understood.
You know what I mean?
So that doesn't solve the problem for the people who don't like beer.
I'm not sure. No, exactly. It always has to be 51% of a blend from here. I'm not sure if I can buy finished cider or finished wine or finished liquor. Liquor, definitely not. I can buy I can ferment other juices for sure, as long as it's. And I'm not even sure that 51% rule still holds. It might be less or more, or I don't know. But it's definitely stuff that I have done and continue to do. I'm not really. I don't buy a ton of juice because I like don't have those skills yet necessarily to make a drink that I know is going to be good with must on a large scale. But I can do it on a small scale. I do some of it on a small scale, but that's definitely something I used to do at the brew pub, but I haven't necessarily translated over here. What I like to do here is like long macerations. So take like whole fruits and like soak the beer on the whole fruits for a minute. So, you know, we've done cherries and grapes and pears and, you know, blackberries and whatever. That's something that I'm pushing, is to like soak whole fruit beer on whole fruit. So I have tanks for that. But I haven't done a ton of other juices here. None, I don't think.
Okay.
None. No.
I wonder if your fruit beers could appeal to the. I'm just trying to think of a solution. I bet you've probably already looked at everything, but just like for the people who might not want beer, but your fruit beers don't, unless people are
for sure. No, I'm talking about people who don't drink beer, either cannot drink beer or don't drink beer. You know.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you always want to provide.
Those people exist.
Oh, absolutely. And look, I think for you specifically, this is coming from a place where you're a man who is coming from a brew pub that's also a bar that has the license where you can stock liquor and blah blah blah. So you've always got something, and I know you always had cider on. I always noticed that on the chalkboard at the pub.
Exactly. So I just feel bad that now we have a spot that doesn't have something for everybody.
Do you think then, on flipping it in a positive way, like if you're sort of looking for that sort of bar experience where you can smash some shots and grab a cider and then grab a fucking Kolsch or whatever it might be, you can do that all in one place. But then you come here and it's kind of like just a different Lesbos experience, as far as you're getting the shit. You're looking through that glass window right behind the taps and you're seeing Simo glistening forehead just fucking mashing out, you know. It's like
I think the experience here is probably cool.
I think it's beautiful.
I haven't had the experience like on the other side of the. No, that's not true. I've had it a couple of times and it's been amazing. It's amazing, man. It's dope. The place is dope, man. It's just like I'm saying.
It's just different. That's all. And you've got that connection.
It's just different.
It's different, and that's okay, man. I feel like that's fine. You'll get there eventually.
What was funny is that we used to call, or we still call, I guess. They had a tagline for what the l'espace public was ton deuxième salon. It was like your second living room, your second home, exactly. And that when we made this place, we were gonna say this place is my second home. Come over to my house. You know what I mean? When you go to the bar, you're at your house. When you come over here, you're at my house.
See? That's fucking dope.
And we haven't done anything really to do that, but that's definitely something that's in everybody's mind. So that when you come here, you have an experience that's way more us, whereas when you go there, you have an experience that's way more everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah, and when I'm saying that out loud, it's exclusive and not how you want it to be. But it made a lot of sense, like as a tricky marketing thing, or as a tricky communications thing. Like you see it's like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? But,
I get it, bro. Like it makes complete sense, and I don't think it's not inclusive. It's a different experience, and I think there's like at the end of the day, right? Like L'Espace Public is a brewery. You make beer. Now, beer isn't for everyone, and that's okay. So then maybe for now, until something changes, those people should probably go to the bar and have a fucking amazing night or afternoon. But then you can go to this new brewery, and it's just it's a different vibe, and like I just feel like that's okay. I feel like sometimes you can't, as much as you want to be, and it's coming from a beautiful place, you want to be kind of everything to as many people as possible. But I love the idea of like that's your second living room. Now come to my living room. Slightly different.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the same, but it's different. And maybe it doesn't have the shots and stuff, but maybe that's not the vibe. Maybe the vibe there is more like get rowdy off the fuck. Have 17 of the balcons, like, you know, the 3-4%, like whatever, crush those. And like maybe a lot of people, if you're not, requiring gluten free, then that's something that that they can have a great time there. So speaking of a great time, I'm ready to go to the next one. Unless you want to have that.
Nice.
Could you please get the next one, Ben? Is it the IPA, right? The pink one.
That's right. So it's the last one of the anniversary series of beers.
Tell me about it. There she is. Look at that. A little bit to your left. There you go. Oh, fucking Mad Dog.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness, mate. What a bloody ripper. Why is it called Mad Dog? I fucking love it, mate. Because if you're a good bloke, you're a fucking Mad Dog. Yeah.
Mate. Luke, mate.
Luke, mate. Look at that, mate. Luke, mate. Oh, yeah.
Luke, Craig, I was out. I saw how you did it the other day out there.
Yeah.
You're a fucking Mad Dog, mate. Bloody ripper.
He said bloody ripper. Simo, could you do me one favor?
What's
favor.
That?
Never change.
Oh,
Never.
I got you.
Okay.
I'm on top of that one.
Yeah. Tell us about fucking Mad Dog, you Mad Dog. Oh, yeah.
This was like, I think this was the first like IPA recipe that I got to write.
Yeah?
I think it is, yeah.
That's fucking beaut, mate. 6%. Oh, she's a big dog. She's a big dog for Simo.
So we're on the same tip of like
similar color.
Some caramel malt.
Yep. Looking
some
that
caramel malt.
Yep.
There's a lot of bitterness. There's a lot of
Okay. IPA, Simo's first recipe for L'Espace.
Yeah, my first like commercially available IPA recipe, I think.
How's it feel to see it come back?
From 2013.
2013.
I don't know. I have mixed emotions. The beer is really good. The beer is way better than like it. Like you have this experience, and it's kind of related to the experience I was talking about earlier. That like you're never really stoked about the thing that you made, you know. But when you're making beer, you like have many different stages. You get to taste the beer from the brew day to in the fermentation tank to, in this case, like through the dry hops, through the like hop creep breath, through the crash, through the bright tank, through the can, in the can. And like you have many different stages where you can be not stoked on the same thing or on different things in the same product, you know? And this beer, when it got to the can, as is wont to happen with many products, it's like, yo, this is some shit. You know what I mean? When it finally got down to the finished product, I was like, whoa, yo, this tastes really good.
Okay.
So,
it's also a West Coast style, I imagine, based on the time frame?
Definitely West Coast as, man. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Fucking West as, mate. Look at that. It doesn't get any more Westy, mate. Look at that. Fucking beaut. Oh, yeah. Nah, she's right, mate. Well, you know what? Fucking Sim, I just want to tell you something, mate. Put it in you.
Put it in you.
Oh, that's delicious. It's like a ramped up version of the Gary. Obviously, my shit is like ice cold, so I know it sort of opens up as we go, but talk me through some of the flavors here, man. And if you remember any of the hops. Let me guess, Topaz?
There's definitely some Topaz. This is like a Citra heavy beer-ish for the time. There's definitely Topaz in right now. I would say Citra, Mosaic, Topaz, maybe some Centennial.
I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you on that. I feel like I'm
But
getting
like you're it.
yeah.
I was gonna say I have this like really candied citrus fruit thing from the Gary, same thing, and I think that I'm experiencing a lot the caramel malt, the caramel malt marrying with some of the pithy like
Oh,
West
that's what it is.
Coastness of the hop.
It's pithy
There's
grapefruit.
also like I think so like Citra is expressing as like strawberry kind of thing, but like lime strawberry. On this like pine resin. Yeah. This is a dope beer, man. It's like
It's really good.
I don't know. We don't drink beers like this no more. You know what I mean? That's what's so cool. In all of this, Craig, we like drank all these beers that like don't exist but kind of exist. Like I said, they never went away really.
Nope.
They're around, but like
they didn't really go away, and like I said, I guess you'll see over time, but like the taste for this style of beer is very I think it's growing.
Evocative.
It's provocative as fuck. Everybody I know
evocative.
Oh,
for me, it evokes like this time that happened 10 years ago. This like reminds me of like tasting beers in Vermont like 10, 12, 15 years ago. That's what these beers tasted like. Even if like
facts.
I think of
like Stone and Pliny and like
yeah, exactly, all like, over that. But even in Vermont, I think of like fucking the Vermont brew pub, or like there was like a Trailway beer that tastes like kind of like this.
Oh,
Long
Trail. Yeah. Like the older school, like Otter Creek and all that type of shit. Like
this like world that exists. Honestly, in this whole project, I did a lot of research about like how caramel malts fit into contemporary brewing.
Right.
And the main brewing company was a brewer that came up a lot. They're a company that, yeah, exactly. They're a company that owns that says, yo, I'm going to throw this caramel malt in everywhere because it's a part of the thing. You know, always throwing towards Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, Sierra Nevada, exactly.
It's a real thing, man. Like these profiles exist for a reason, and we loved these beers back in the day for a reason.
Yeah,
you know, it was cool. It was a really cool experiment to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
It almost feels like
some of the.
Go on.
No, you go, brother.
No, I want you to keep talking. I just want to say that drinking these 4 beers right now, it does feel like, in the most beautiful way, like we're in a time walk, like we're sitting in a bar 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. That's the idea. That's why I wanted to share these beers with you, and like do that and have that time. We did it. High five to us.
Fucking high five to us. Honestly, dude, I really think that at the very least, the pale ale and the IPA, you could do these regularly because there's genuinely a thirst for this style. And in Quebec, I've noticed that there's a few breweries that are doing West Coast stuff, and the response from people I've seen has been passionate, I guess is probably the word, because you've got this faction of beer nerds, and that's not necessarily who you're going after all the time, but because I love what L'Espace does as far as like you cater to. Like, I can go to L'Espace and I will be completely ecstatic and satiated by everything there, but I could bring my maybe noob beer friend who doesn't really focus on it, but they'll find a bunch of stuff that they'll like. It doesn't matter who I come with. I could bring everybody I know to L'Espace, and that's what I really value.
That's the whole idea, yeah.
That's it. That's the point. Like you said, it's about community. It's about the people.
Everybody's welcome, man. Yeah,
exactly.
Man.
And at the very least, I can't speak for the average person, because I guess, we're more sort of catering towards the beer nerds here as well in that sense. But I'm just noticing that this taste isn't provided for, and what you're giving us here is this is like the perfect West Coast IPA for today. It's like a throwback, and like nostalgia as a whole is in again. People are wearing things from the 80s, wearing those throwback t-shirts, getting a mullet haircut. You know the vibe, that beautiful hair of yours. Like that type of stuff is really coming back in fashion, in whatever you might, in cooking, in now in something like beer. Like, I think that you would certainly have like a nice skew that people would always look for, even if it's like not year round and is brought back every quarter or something like that. I feel like people would very much appreciate it, because I think we're kind of still starved for this. Everything's haze. I'm a haze boy, so I'm with it. But I fucking love West Coast IPAs, and when I have them, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I love this shit. And I really feel like a lot of other people feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, it remains to be seen. I think like it could be a regular product, maybe once or twice a year. We'll see, man.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool though.
Like I said, the beers are not here, so they must have been sold insofar as they're not here.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah. It's very cool, particularly this being your first recipe.
Yeah. Well, my first IPA recipe where I got to write the recipe. Like we made IPAs before, for sure, at the other breweries we worked at, but like McCausland and 3B, as we know, are not known for their IPAs.
Not quite, no. They serve another purpose, and they do what they need to do.
So like you're somebody who really liked IPAs all the time, and like I did too, but at some point I got lost. Okay. I think I was not stoked on the like cultural appropriation of New England, or the geographical appropriation of New England, and doing that, especially because I was so familiar with all these New England IPAs that were made in New England at the time, and the way that style went. And I was like not stoked on the Haze Boys and the Haze Juice and all that shit. Something I had a hard time getting into,
Because you thought it was better or you were annoyed that people outside of that region were making them?
Yeah, and like not doing what it was. Like
there were shitty versions of it.
Yeah, well, or just like whack versions of it. You know what I mean?
Dude, I completely understand.
And then it became a cartoon, right? It just became a cartoon. And that's what happens with styles all the time. Is like you pick on one thing. It's like a comedian always says, the impression of somebody. Like my Australian impression, I like to say, look, Mike.
Look,
like it's a fucking cartoon. Like it's this dad out there who's like, look, guys, look. I know you think you're having a bit of fun, mate, but look.
A1.
Like, and so in the IPA world, I don't know. I just like stuck with something else, and it was like purposefully not to like do this, like to risk having like a sick tasting beer, like sometimes when you have this like greasy ass fucking hop thing that's like gray and greasy and like undrinkable, and sometimes it gets there with those juice Haze Boys, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was very reactionary against that. It's not necessarily a good place to be. All that being said, is that I'm stoked on being able to do this beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And I hope people like it. I hope people are stoked on it.
I think like you said, they seem to be moving already. If your fridge is already empty, that's a beautiful thing. I think it's more, I think this could definitely tap into a market that is severely underserved. And I think that's important in beer these days, because, the haze did take over. And whilst I'm here for it, it has led to a whole bunch of, inferior products. And that's part of the game, I guess. But then along the way, this got forgotten about. So now it's being resurrected alongside things we were talking about earlier. The ESBs or British Milds, the Crispy Boys, all that type of shit. And I think all of that is super cool. This resurgence of these styles and the interest in it, because it's more interesting for you to do something a bit different. It's interesting for the consumer to have more options. And I still think in Quebec, it's still few and far between across the board for this stuff. So yeah, man, I'd love to. It would make me happy just knowing that this type of thing would be popping up, even if it's a couple times a year.
Well, so now we've done the thing, and I know you have to like speak good about it. But what do you think of those 4 beers, man? These are, it's like we're saying, it's like not a thing, but it kind of is a thing, but it's not a thing.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'm always honest with Luke, mate. Luke. I think these are fucking fantastic. No, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, right? I think everything L'Espace does, I'm a huge fan. Even before we sort of became friends, I was already a fan. So I really fuck with you, and I fuck with what you're doing. I think first of all, the concept, brilliant, fucking perfect. The marketing behind it, I'm looking at the 4 cans sitting next to the computer here, and they just look so sick together because they've essentially got the same pattern with the pigeon upside down in different ways and just in different colors. So yeah, show them to the mandem.
I'm showing it to myself now.
Show it to yourself. Take a look. It just looks fucking cool. So I think, and people can see the backside of it. It's basically the same thing anyway. It just looks great. I think what you've done is
it looks good.
You've captured a moment in time. You've recaptured something. And you're celebrating the legacy of a brand that has meant a lot to the city and to your neighborhood specifically as well. And I think that is brilliant in and of itself. And you brought stuff back. You've kept it as authentic to the original product as possible. And I've genuinely enjoyed everyone. Yeah. I bet it is, absolutely. I've enjoyed every single one, dude. I'm not joking. Like, there's a lot of empty glasses right next to the computer here. So, that's why we haven't gone. It's 2 hours. We've only cracked the 4th beer. Normally, I'd be like doing it, moving through it a bit faster. But I just enjoyed drinking them and talking to you, so I haven't really like pushed it to move faster. I think these are great, dude. I think it's really cool. And like I said before, I knew we were doing this, so I didn't really talk to you and ask you any questions because I knew we'd be doing it here. But just seeing even the way that Val rolled it out on social and seeing what you were doing, I keep up on all of that, and I'm like, yo, this is fucking great. It's just super cool. And I haven't seen anyone do anything exactly like this and bring back these old recipes. So in and of itself, that's dope. And I enjoyed every single one of them. The one that stood out, that obviously this is probably my favorite, but the Mad Dog that I'm drinking right now because it's 6%.
The Mad Dog is the best one. It's an amazing beer. It's a really dope beer.
The special bitter really stood out to me though, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like I never really thought.
It's also really good.
I want to give shouts to that one. And this is one of the better double Belgians that I've had as well because it's just not my thing. And the sweetness kind of gets me a little bit, but because of how bitter it is, I enjoyed it significantly more than I thought I would. And that's just a personal taste thing. But all of them, fascinating. Crack that dad pop. Do you know what? I just want to take the thumbnail screenshot. I take a screenshot of the thing, which is actually perfect. You got these there just before my camera's going to die, and I'm going to change to the camera. So this will just be a little higher quality if I take it now. So I'm going to do that, and Simo's going to fucking look at those right there, mate. I'm going to hold up these two. Ready? Oh, that's a bloody beaut, that is, mate. All right, we'll keep going. I want to get it now before we just before that shit fucking died, fucking beaut. Yeah, man, really, really cool. So for people who know, these 4 anniversary beers are available now across your general distribution network, which is mostly Quebec, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Everywhere fine ales are sold. Yeah, I know that in Hochelaga specifically, we targeted 4 spots to carry the 4-packs. If you want to go buy a 4-pack and you're in Hochelaga, you probably already know, first of all. But if you don't, now you do. You can go to the Bureau Lug, Elvis, William J. Walter, or now I look like an asshole, right?
It's okay.
Maybe it's here. Maybe here's the 4th spot.
Maybe here. Who knows? So people can buy a mixed 4-pack.
You can buy the mixed pack. Definitely here at the brewery, you can, and definitely at the bar. Well, the bar maybe not anymore. I don't know how the to-go sales are working with the laws and shit. You know how it changes all the time. Yeah. Where you can sell to-go. Anyways.
I hope they keep that. No, they didn't? Fuck, they're dumb. They're so stupid.
No, they did. They did not. Definitely did not.
Quebec drives me crazy.
So I don't know. Well, Ontario does the same thing. They all do the same thing. I don't know if you can still buy a 4-pack to go at the bar. Maybe, maybe not. Well, go. If you can't, drink a beer, you know? You can buy a growler, that's for sure. We still got growlers at the bar.
There you go. And you can swing around. You know, it's like a few minutes down the road, and you can swing by the old, the new spot and grab. You got the fridges.
Yeah, I got the fridges over here.
Which is
delightful fridges.
The delightful fridges. I think it's really cool. I didn't even think about doing a mixed 4-pack because I think that's great. Like that people will be able to buy, like, you know, a nice little easy to go thing that it just give you the sample of everything. And like I feel like this is just a really unique, interesting, great looking 4-pack to celebrate once again the legacy of a brewery that has made a real mark in the city, in the neighborhood, in the province.
Yeah, exactly. Importantly, it's a brewery that celebrates, like, these beers are to celebrate the people who drank these beers, who are stoked on these beers and are still drinking these beers. And, you know, it's for them. It's for them. It's for us. It's for all those people who were there and who are still there. And you know?
Yeah, man. They've been rocking with you for a long time.
Yeah.
Which I love. It's just fucking cool, man. So then, all right. So you've got this this beautiful new brewery. You're pumping stuff out. Like, what's going on next? What else are you guys working on that you can talk about? What else can people expect from shit you're pumping out? We're a few months away from summer. Getting excited.
Well, what I can say, and I've already mentioned, is we've got a beer coming out with the Castal, and that's really cool to me because those are people who I love and respect till the end of time, you know. Speaking of West Coast IPAs and talk about IPAs in Quebec, you do got to talk about the Castor.
You have to.
Oh man, Craig, my battery's running out. Oh, rat.
That's okay. We could wrap it here if you wanted to wrap it here and make sure we catch it all.
Yes, yeah. Well, you know, I think we've done it all with the 4 beers. So that is happening. We're going to open up the patio here, you know, in April, and we got some beer launches coming up for that. We're going to do some parties this summer. You know, stick around. We're going to do the thing. You know, we out here. We're doing our thing, man. You know,
Mans is out here, as the kids in Toronto say. You know,
for real, bro.
You know the fucking vibes. Simon, let's just wrap it up then. Brother, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. You're such a champion. This is fun. Love the beers, love you, love everything you're doing. Where can all the mad dogs...
love you guys.
You are the king. Where can all the mad dogs get it? At home. Find L'Espace Public online.
Yeah, come check us out at the brew pub. Come check us out here. We got stuff for you guys, man. We got the stuff. Look. You want some beers?
Look, mate. Got the beers. Look.
I do say look all the time. Like I say, man. I'm always out there saying look.
It's my favorite shit ever, bro. I'm not joking. And it's at L'Espace Public.
It's from this imaginary Australian dad who's out there going, look. Yeah, look. Yeah, we got these 2 spots. But come on down. They're great. We'll have a great time.
You're damn right you will. Simo, free hugs from Simo. Look at him. He'll hug the shit
free
out of
hug
you.
From Simo.
Free hugs.
I will hug the shit out of you. Literally.
Literally.
You see, this was I was worrying about, that the podcast would go off the rails and we'd start saying some whack shit. Like,
I feel like we kept it in line. I feel like last time when Frank
we kept it good.
I felt wilding out and shit. I feel like it was actually hilarious, and this was hilarious too. But I feel like we kept it pretty good.
Can I just say, bless up to you guys, man. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, BAOS. Thanks for being in my life. Thanks for being a part of this shit with me, you know, and thanks for doing this podcast tonight, B.
It's an honor, bro. It always is. I love it. I love our friendship. I love that we get to do all these collabs together and just make beautiful beer babies and hang the fuck out. And, mate, we're going to come through. I'm going to bring Tiff because she hasn't seen it yet. Going to bring Dan down. And we'll just fucking smash it up in soon, ASAP.
Yeah, man.
You know the vibe. So stick around just for a second until the battery dies and we'll just talk off air as we wrap it up. But everybody, make sure you go follow L'Espace Public. Check out Simo. Go check out the breweries. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. If you... Oh, I did the... I did the screenshot earlier, just in case. Tiff was reminding me. See, it's good. It's beautiful. If you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up. Hit subscribe below. Hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media everywhere at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your shit. Hit that 5-star rating. You know the fucking vibes. We'll see you. This go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. Mate, love you all. Thank you for supporting and rocking with us. Love you, Simo. We'll see you guys. In the next
crushing
episode.
it. Je t'aime. Yeah.
Je t'aime aussi, là. Ouais, c'est ça. All right, guys.